Hello again, and thank you for joining me for this week's edition of your Wheel and Anchor weekly newsletter. This past week, we launched the newest in our France Kaleidoscope series, and it was focused on the city of Lyon in the region of Burgundy in eastern France. This is a program that we had planned to operate last year, but of course, because of COVID, we weren't able to do that. And the members who had booked into it were clamoring for us to bring it back. And so in the context of our overall France Kaleidoscope program, which consists of 4 separate weeks in 4 regions of France, we decided to return to Lyon and Burgundy. And what makes that region so special is, frankly, the food and also the wine. But Lyon, for those who aren't aware, and it's not generally known outside France, but Lyon is really the gastronomic capital of France. And as we were putting the trip together, I really started to think about the context of food within travel. And I think most of us all appreciate great food, and we appreciate trying and sampling all the dishes when that we get when we travel internationally. But it sort of begged the question for me is how important or how significant is the culinary aspect of any particular tour. And so I know that in the past I have put the idea out, and I've tried to run some foodie type tours where the whole theme of it was food and wine. And yeah, the interest was somewhat muted because I think when people want to travel, they think more about the sights that they're going to see, the experiences that they're going to have. And although we all appreciate having an excellent meal or a good glass of wine or whatever beverage happens to be endemic to the area that we're traveling, we don't necessarily want to put a full emphasis of any trip on food. And hence, in this particular week, for example, it really is somewhat culinary centric because of the significance of the region for all of the products that come from Burgundy and Savoie and the area of the Rhone and Saône valleys. And also, as I say, because Lyon is noted as the home of some of France's greatest Michelin star chefs. When we travel to other countries, often food plays a role in the decision, or certainly in the way that we're going to plan the trip. Italy, for example, of course, is another culinary hotspot in Europe, and I think that a lot of people, a lot of us, me included, love to go to Italy for the food. But when we get beyond countries like France and Italy, then how much emphasis do we actually put on the food aspect of a particular country or region? And I think that if you think about some of the other regions in the world where food is such an important part of the national identity and the national culture, if you go to Latin America or Australia, you think about beef, for example. Of course, seafood is a delicacy in some of the island nations in the Caribbean or in parts of Africa. So wherever we travel, there is an aspect of food that's an important consideration. But does it really drive our decision to travel to such a place? And so this is the question that I've been grappling with, and I'm curious to know from you, what do you think about it? How important is food for you in the equation? If we were to run a food-only tour of certain parts of the world where maybe you don't even expect the food to be as great as it is. I look at, for example, South Africa, a country I love to visit because of the food. Most people think of South Africa in terms of safaris and wide open spaces. But one of my favorite things about South Africa, as an example, is the fact that they have a level of culinary excellence that is almost surprising and rivals anything that you'll find in Europe or in other parts of the world. So think about that for a little while. And so as we plan our trips for the latter part of next year and into 2023, we're going to be giving a little bit more consideration to the food aspect of our travels, because as I'm sure you've experienced much as I have, sometimes the great meals that we have along the way really are an integral part of the memories that we retain from travels into all kinds of exotic parts of the world. Our next webinar will be Thursday, August the 12th, and we're going to be covering a new destination. This is Safari by Land and Sea, where we're going to be traveling around southern Africa as well as to the archipelago of the Seychelles Islands in the Indian Ocean, both incredible destinations for their very unique flora and fauna. And so that webinar again, August the 12th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And in the 2 weeks following that, August 19th and 26th, we'll have a whole bunch of new programs up on our website, which will form part of our Trip Inspiration Survey 2023. And we'll be having 2 back-to-back webinars where we'll be talking briefly about some of the places that we're looking at going in 2023, getting some feedback from you as we start planning for travel in that year. So take care of yourselves in the meantime, and I will catch up with you again next week.